streamer at home, hot tip, if your camera's working, don't try to move it. I have a very sensitive rig here. I touched the camera and it lost the USB connection, so no more of that. So let me talk for a minute about Rob Chapman, Anderton's TV, and what a big influence they were on me. So when I first started getting back into guitar in the early 1990s to early 2000s, I built a studio in the basement of this big house I had, and did a whole bunch of stuff for a while, and started posting videos on YouTube where I had many guitars, room to spread out, and a big, nice house prior to the divorce, right? So I did a few amateur YouTube videos for the reasons I explained in the previous video. I had a full-time job, kids, and some health issues. And it was just kind of a hobby. But now that I am disabled / retired, divorced, and then been in this apartment for 7 years, I'm really trying to make an effort at spending time on my YouTube channel, because it gives me something to do that's productive, keeps me out of the strip joints, keeps me out of the massage parlors, and I focus on something good. So in the early 2000s, though, I was a big fan of Anderton's and Rob Chapman's. I bought into all of the Rob Chapman voodoo. I even flew out to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to catch a bus tour he was on in the U.S. where he was selling his guitars. Had an opportunity to purchase an instrument there. I skipped on the Victory amp because those were super expensive. But I bought a Swap Anch ML1, I believe. And briefly, because I was able to get in to do the tour real quick, Rob and his wife were doing the tour. And he's like, hey, man, he shook my hand. We've only got a few minutes before the gig starts. Do you mind if I not talk to you and we go through the museum? I'm like, totally get it. Hey, thanks for shaking my hand, blah, 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 blah. So I met, him, his wife, Revere, the whole thing, bought a guitar, flew home to Chicagoland, blah, 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 blah. And I also watched that YouTube channel religiously. So they would always say that you need a Marshall amp. I'm not going to move the camera. You need a Marshall amp. You need a Gibson Les Paul guitar. And then you're cool and you can sound good. And your true playing will show when you have that Gibson USA guitar paired with that British amp. And the second I had that in my basement studio and I was all ready to go, the next video I watched was, hey, to be cool like us, what you really need is an Indonesian-made PRS. And I almost chucked my computer, my USA Gibson Les Paul, and everything out the MFing window. I was so sick of those guys. I was going to do a parody video that I never got around to. So allow me now to do a parody, okay? Hey, I'm Rob Chapman. I had long hair, but I'm bald now. I'm blind. I'm blind without my glasses, but with this on, I can't really see. So I'm going to go over here and get a guitar. And is this a 2020 Gibson Les Paul? Or is this the Epiphone? So I play it. Oh, the neck sounds great. It feels good. Oh, it's heavy. Oh, I'm going to sniff the lacquer. Sniff the lacquer. This, the timbers aren't cut in America, and the engine what really makes the pickups work that are attached to the wood. If it's a Fender, the same freaking pickups are attached to the pickguard. So maybe we can talk about tone plastic and pickguards. But anyway, let's get back to making fun of those guys. Oh my God. Look, it is the Epiphone. Yay, I'm so British. And now I've been replaced by Danish Pete. Oh, poor me. I wish I hadn't moved to Malta. I want to move my kids back to the U.S. So that's my long overdue impression of Rob Chapman. If I wanted to do an impression of Lee Anderton, I'd be wearing pants that were too tight. I'd have the cameraman focus on my crotch, and I'd talk about my Les Paul and my Rolex. And oh, by the way, Lee, I know you'll never see this, but I bet you my Rolex Coke watch, which is really the Pan Am watch, is worth more than yours, because mine is an original GMT. What does that stand for, boys and girls? Greenwich Mean Time. And the reason it has that, it's not a dive watch. The reason that bezel twists both ways on that Rolex is because it is to tell time in two different time zones. So that's also known as the Pan Am watch, because literally Rolex built the GMT for the Pan Am pilots in the late 50s and early 60s so that they could have some idea of what time it was in both time zones, as those were some of the first flights across the Atlantic. So I have an original GMT-1 and not the GMT-2, which is being made today. So Haley, I'm in the Les Paul Rolex Club, and I bet you my Rolex is worth more money than yours is. Na 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 boo boo. Not to mention my Omega, my Tag, and my two Movado automatics that are safely stored in a safe deposit box on not the apartment. Much like my 72 Telecaster thin line, this over 50 years, is stored in a secure location. Okay, so I'm going to pause to check on how I'm destroying the turkey. And I won't be able to give you a live update because I can't touch the camera, but I will give you a virtual update on how I'm slaughtering the turkey breast in the oven that I purchased from Omaha Steak for like $1.99 for this pre-made meal. That's not pre-made. This is me, people. This is what's in my head all the time. Do 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 do. Yes, I peed and washed my hands. Doo-dah. Doo-dah. Let's check on the turkey now. All the doo-dah today. Wolf. The pain's starting to kick in from my last 2 surgical procedures, so I couldn't sleep. So I got to start destroying this meal early. Oof. So here's the plan. It is as follows. The turkey breast has been in the oven for 45 minutes. It's going to remain in the oven for another hour and 15 minutes. I can't really see what's going on in the oven because, of course, the light burned out. And hey, that's just wonderful. And then that's hopefully going to go into the crock pot where it can cook all day. And then when it gets to be about 45 minutes from noon, I'll start on all of the sides I described in one of these, either part 1 or part 2. Okay, so let's talk about my least favorite guitar. We talked about some of my favorites. We just have to go over here. I'm waiting to be healed up from my surgery so I can go sell this at a pawn shop because I don't care how much I get for it. I just want it out of my life. Stroke. Stroke on Billy Squire. Stroke. Stroke. Okay. Ow. This is a stabby guitar. It makes me stabby, and it also has lots of stabby parts. So before you go paying a lot of money for a headless guitar, know that most of them have stabby bits here where the string gets clamped down. And because there are no tuning machines, the string ends just sit out. Unless it's a Hills or a Steinbrenner, they finally put in things to catch that. This is a cheap IYV guitar that imitates more expensive guitars. And every single one of these fine tuning screws is super stabby because as you turn them and you tighten it, the unfinished screw ends come out and you can use it as a weapon. I mean, I could save this as a self-defense weapon, right? If the apartment was ever invaded, like, you can both chop with this mother scratcher, hi chop motherfucker, and then or you can play guitar with it in a very uncomfortable fashion because I just jabbed myself again. But yeah, this thing is just a frigid nightmare. See how well it keeps doing? Try and turn it up by ear. Tuning one of these things is weird because you have to kind of you tune on the actual screw where you can feel it vibrate. It is weird. Closer. and it's jabbing me. Maybe I could have AI help me write a song about it. Killing me softly with its sharp edges and its cheap components. Killing me softly, this guitar is. And I want to sell it to a pawn shop because it sucks, 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 sucks. So, one of my least favorite guitars. Use it as a paddle. At least the 5-piece maple neck doesn't shrink in Chicago like that blue son of a bitch there. Everything's a mirror image. That, don't look at the garbage bag on the floor or my dirty carpet. That Harley Benton with the Meranti wood, that neck shrank up. I've got lots of videos about that. And now the nut and the first 5 frets are jabbing me like Bowie knives. Here, I'll hide the garbage on the floor. When I got discharged from the hospital, my discharge instructions were over 30 pages. Half of those, 15, were my next appointments at the hospital in January, February, and March. So I'm at the hospital a lot, yo. I'm sick and disabled. I got issues. My issues got issues. Okay, so I talked a little bit about the kids. I figured out how to do this. Ooh, there's the kids when they were kids. And then over here, a trip to Jamaica. Let's talk about the trip to Jamaica. And what a wonderful trip it was. I used to do all-inclusives in the Bahamas and in places like the Jamaica and to Antigua. That was a recommendation from my boss because I was always complaining about how does everyone have money to be able to afford to go to fancy places like Hawaii every year when I can't do that. He's like, yeah, you should try, the Atlantic region. It's probably more your speed, meaning, less money. So usually I go for basically just a long weekend to keep it affordable and keep it quick so I can be back for my kids. That was the first trip that was going to be very expensive, very nice, more than a weekend, basically 5 days at a beaches resort, and met some really amazing people. This one woman, particularly Christine, was like a vision on the beach or outside my balcony. Maybe I'll tell that story about I was talking to her for 3 hours one day, and then her husband ran out and physically stepped in between us. And I turned to her, I'm like, who's this? She's like, oh, that's my husband. I was thinking, you could have mentioned that 3 hours ago, but okay. So the other thing that happened with that vacation that made it pretty extra exciting is I left my iPhone in the limo. So imagine being on vacation for 5 days and not having a phone. They took me to town with a driver who was basically a bodyguard to a local cellular place where I was there for 3 hours. When I came back with a cheap Android phone that was working for 15 minutes until I jumped in the pool with it in my pocket. The cheap phone was not waterproof. So I had to buy a film camera, kids. There used to be these things called cameras, and they had film on them, and light comes in through the lens and exposes the physical film to light, and then it's bathed in chemicals, and you would get actual photographs, which is what PIC is short for. PIC means picture. Ooh, Jamaica. Ooh, my table tray on my veranda. Ooh, more veranda table tray. Me in a Sox hat, looking awesome. That's the beach behind me. More actual pictures of Jamaica, man. And this is what I bought on the beach. You know, one of those quick souvenir cheapies. Oh, yeah, look at that. It was right from my cabana on the beach. All these pictures. Christina was over this way. I saw her. I was at the pool, and there's all these MILF moms, and I didn't know whether to throw up or to tip them money in their G-strings, because as they're bending over picking up their toddlers, I was seeing everything they had. So after I almost lost my lunch, literally, or got kicked out for tipping one of them like a stripper, I went back to my room, and I saw a woman who was in a beautiful bikini, but she had the modesty and the beauty and the sense of self-worth to put a camisole over it. And the ocean wind was coming and blowing her hair back and blowing the camisole, so she looked sexy but not slutty. You ladies should try that sometime in the 2000s, 20s. This is before everyone was an OnlyFilms model. OnlyFilms, OnlyCams. Liquor. They did a great job, because I was in a high roller spot, of stocking the refrigerator. In the last couple days, when they figured out what I liked, like they drink a Red Stripe, they're warm. Like, man, how come you don't like the Red Stripe? I'm like, I like it cold. Walked in, opened my refrigerator. It's completely packed top to bottom with Red Stripes cold. More booze at night. My room? Question mark? Question mark? Out from my room. You saw that picture? Oh, this is what they have on the website, man. So this is my Cabeza Cabana. There, and I'm looking out on the beach. That's where the drinks were served. And the food was, like the main food. They had like 3 or 4 restaurants that were always open. Ooh. So this was the most recent all-inclusives I've done this year for vacation. I spent less money, quote, less money on a cruise. All the $7.99 does is get you on the boat and get you into a buffet, nothing else. So I don't know that it was any cheaper than this vacation. So I'm debating if I'll do a cruise again, or for the same money, do this, because this is looking pretty goddamn good when I'm looking at this. I take pictures of steaks. That's what I do. Steak and guitars. That's all I do. So tried to make out. I had neighbors that lived behind me in Mokina growing up. They would go to Jamaica all the time. And now I know why. People are great too. Very customer service focused. Whereas on a cruise, you'll get a crew that's mixed from different countries and different parts of the world, which can be fun, but they also break up the cliques. They're like, oh, we don't speak English, read the sign. And the sign would be wrong and not what the cruise director, who wasn't even on the ship, she was back on land and made videos. You know, she'd say, on the cruise I took in August to the Bahamas, hey, our coffee shop opens up at 5 a.m. If you wake up early, get yourself a coffee, explore the ship, get there at 5 a.m. They're like, no, we don't open at 7. Go back to your room. Okay, so the cruise director doesn't know what she's talking about. Those are my vacation preferences. I'm going to go check on the turkey breast I'm ruining. Hopefully you guys liked the imitation of Andertons. I've been wanting to make fun of those fucks for a while. They could learn from Tom Grossi. Tom Grossi is a creator who does NFL simulcasts. And not only does he have less subscribers than they do, he's raised over $3 million for charities. And he does these things called Grossi raids, where he has all of his large following. He asks them to go visit smaller creators and hang out on their pages and subscribe, watch some streams, watch some videos, and it really helps those smaller channels out. So, Lee Anderson, I know you'll never hear this, or boy, he used to have a long luscious hair and no tattoos. Now he's got lots of tattoos and he's bald. Oh, Rob Chapman. It could also do something to help the little guys, but doesn't. Okay, so learn from Tom Grossi, guys. You guys really are. I know you look up to Beato as well. You should. Any musician / YouTuber would. But in terms of how to be a person and how to run a YouTube channel, man, you guys could learn a lot from Tom Grossi, the NFL guy. Okay, I'm going to take that garbage out so it's not on my floor. Don't ask why I've got a towel in front of my easy chair. It's got something to do with the prostate surgery. Okay, I'm glad I checked that. I went ahead and put that in the oven. Took it out of the oven and put it in the crock pot because it was shockingly cooking quickly. It was already defrosted. I was able to cut it in half, put it in the crock pot, and put a cup of hot water in there with the juices and the gravy. And hopefully that'll cook up nicely in the slow cooker over the next few hours. Probably wondering, what's this in my apartment? During the summer, the air conditioning went out. They brought me a temporary unit that didn't work, so I called and reported it as dead, and they never came to pick it back up. I had to pull everything out before it started to snow. So, like I say, I'll have to log a ticket for them to come and pick it up. An apartment living when you're retired is nice in some aspects because if anything breaks, I just log a ticket. And I know I don't get the tax benefit of owning a home, but man, I remember that house and how we went through air conditioning unit once, dryer unit, air conditioning, furnace, dishwasher, refrigerator, microwave, washer twice, dryer twice, 2 water heaters. So there's disadvantages in owning a home. Dealing with the homeowners association caused me almost to lose my temper with some people. So, okay, we've talked about some guitar stuff. An update on me slaughtering the main course, which is the turkey breast. I was able to make fun of Andertons, and maybe somebody will watch this. So my intention was to go all day, but you guys don't want to see me try to get some sleep here and do all the things that one has to do after prostate cancer. So I'm going to end the stream here. Hopefully some people will replay this and get some enjoyment out of it. This has been Martin Bryan from my guitar channel. Stay tuned because on the way, and check out my most recent long form video, I talk about the incredible Epiphone Les Paul Modern figured top purple burst. That's a mouthful. That is on the way. That sells for $799. It comes with a soft case as compared to the Gibson version, which sells for $2,200 and has the cheapest Gibson case I've ever seen. I think that is made in China. From the looks of it, it definitely does not look like a Gibson USA or a Canada case. So I was able to get a 15% discount on that for my fine friends at Sam Ash, who give me a loyal customer / small YouTuber discount of 15%. So the 15% discount more than paid for the shipping and the taxes. So the cost to me was like pretty inexpensive. Be looking for that. Tune in if you like this content. If you hate this content, tune in and watch more. If you really want to be offended, I have over 700 videos, a couple live streams. Out of those 900 videos, now, of those 900 videos, most of them suck, but a few are pretty good. Check them out.